Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining. We're excited to learn about volatility indexes because we are very ill-informed. So you're the founder and CEO of Volmex, which is building crypto's leading volatility indexes and volatility products and aiming to be the index conglomerate of the future. So I guess starting off, really curious about your core insight here and what led you to ultimately starting Volmex.
Yeah, so great to be here, guys. Thanks again for having me. So at Volmex, we are most well known for building the BVIV index or BVIV index, which is basically an analogous index to the VIX index, but for Bitcoin. And so when the market's fearful, this index tends to spike. It's a benchmark index that is used as an indicator across TradingView, CoinMarketCap, Bybit Analytics on the Earn section. And we have a number of futures products across BVIV and our Ethereum index eVIV that are tradable on Bitfinex and Gtrade. And so basically, we've pioneered this standard for Bitcoin volatility in the crypto market. We have a number of other families of indices. We have interest rate indices, and we're sort of becoming this conglomerate of indexes for the crypto market. So I've been working on Volmex for the last 4 years or so. I've been following the options market my entire life. My dad actually works at a U.S. equity options exchange and has spent about 40 years working at a couple different U.S. equity options exchanges. And so I've been working in crypto startups for about 6.5 years. I was a second employee at a company called Staked, which had been acquired by Kraken in 2021. And so, I was trading in my personal account and saw this, need for, a vol index standard like the VIX in the Bitcoin space and the crypto space. And that's kind of what led me to Volmex. And so, great to be here and looking forward to talking more with you guys.
Are there some sort of unique complications in trying to create a Bitcoin volatility index versus, say, what would go into creating the VIX?
It's a very similar methodology. Like it gets sort of into the semantics. There's this sort of variance swap replication calculation that underpins both of them. But at its core, the crypto market structure is a little bit different than U.S. equities or traditional capital markets. Notably, the Volmex indices aggregate the global crypto options landscape, and so we're not dependent on any one data source. And but largely the methodology is pretty similar to the VIX, and we sort of envision there being a similar derivatives complex around this, right, where there will be futures, options, ETPs, ETFs, tokenized products, perhaps like things like prediction markets, OTC products. And so, it's a very similar concept, but obviously crypto, trades 24/7. It's a global market. The volatility in crypto is actually much greater, than the equity market. And so, it's a very similar but different sort of primitive.
I'm very curious about what your business model is. Like it seems like this is just like it's like a data point. Like how do you build a business around like some data points like this?
Yeah, so effectively, we have licensing engagements with exchanges that make BVIV tradable. And so we have a collaboration with both Bitfinex, which is the sister company of Tether, as well as Gtrade, or Gains, and a bunch of others, coming soon. And so effectively, we have 4 futures markets across 2 exchanges right now, and basically have some economics in place with these exchanges where they list our product. And so that's kind of the core business model. Perhaps there will be other things in the future, but that's sort of how we think about it right now.
So you sort of is it volume that ultimately is like the key indicator of your future success here, or is it sort of the spread or the number of licensing deals that you get into?
I think it's a mix of both. We want to be sort of ubiquitous across every exchange that's a good fit for this type of product. And so the usual suspects in the perp space, the biggest exchanges are sort of folks that we target to work with, and hopefully working towards stuff on that front. But yeah, it's a matter of like volume across these different exchanges, as well as the number of exchanges we're on. So at the end of the day, like the volume on BVIV in eVIV linked products is sort of the North Star, and
right.
Hit the nail on the head, Jess.
Yeah.
I'm interested in where the defensibility or network effects exist in this business. Is the kind of thing where you guys got out ahead and kind of became the standard, and there's some kind of stickiness there with the integrations, or I guess what's stopping some of these other places from launching their own or competitors emerging?
Yeah, great question. I mean, and so first mover advantage is a big piece of this. We have more track record, right? We've been around in the market for about 3 years with this type of product, and actually it's about 3-year anniversary of BVIV, printing and production.
Congrats.
And so, yeah, thank you. So, there's a history with the chart and, battle tested, rigorous methodology that, mission critical products can be built upon, right? And you can't just roll out an index tomorrow and have the same track record that we have. And so definitely the critical mass and the battle tested nature of BVIV is a big selling point. It's been around for 3 years, sort of like becomes more and more Lindy every day. You can expect it'll be around for another 3-5 years, at least, right? I think, it's sort of the Lindy effect principle. And so, ultimately we've developed really a critical mass in, by focusing on the sort of specific problem in providing mission critical volatility indices, to the crypto market. We now have integrations, as I mentioned before, with TradingView, where the top result when you search for Bitcoin implied, we're the only implied vol index on CoinMarketCap. We are, integrated with Bybit, which is one of the leading exchanges as an indicator on their platform. And then we have a number of exchange integrations around tradable products. And so, we've sort of pioneered this type of product in crypto and definitely have the most critical mass around such a product. And so I think first mover advantage is a big piece of it. There's a couple of, access to data and, other sort of secret sauce we have. But yeah, it's largely about just sort of moving faster than the incumbents and, bringing something that's a very quality product to market. And so, yeah, we're finding a lot of product market fit, and kind of growing daily.
It feels like this is one of those things that maybe from the layman you go, well, like how hard can it be? It's just data. But then when you get under the hood, the amount of money on the line and the requirement for being absolutely battle tested here puts the operational and build costs significantly higher than one might think. And, the build versus buy calculus probably tips towards buy for most of these front ends.
Exactly.
Nice. I could be your marketing guy here. I don't know anything, and I'm out here just selling the product. I'm curious. Is my assumption here, again, maybe this is wrong, is that this is mostly an institutional product. Do you see a lot of? I'm curious what sort of the breakdown would be there. Is this mostly an institutional product? Is this an asset that a lot of retail traders are going to get access to here soon?
So it's ultimately a very versatile product. It can be used by retail, institutional, pro-tail users as an indicator, right? Can access through TradingView, CoinMarketCap, and really all of the above. Can use it as insight into how the market is feeling about expected volatility. The products that are linked to it are also very versatile. We sort of envision BVIV as this really modular index, which can be wrapped into many different types of products. So if you're an institution, perhaps you prefer to trade on a centralized exchange with, KYC policy and, this type of stuff, or a TradFi exchange in the future that we could, work with. Or maybe if you're a retail or pro-tail trader, you prefer to trade on chain on Base or Arbitrum on, something like a G Trade or, down the road, perhaps something like a Hyperliquid. And so, and Hyperliquid obviously could facilitate both. But yeah, I think that it's a very versatile product. I think, there's ultimately a tradable product which should cater to, all segments of the market. And in terms of an indicator, a lot of people just use the VIX index in the TradFi market as, a data point which they refer to. It's constantly shown on CNBC, and Bloomberg and stuff like this that provides insight into how the market is feeling about expected volatility. And it's also used by, the PMs at say like a BlackRock or, a large hedge fund, but then, retail traders who are trading like VXX in, Interactive Brokers or Schwab or Fidelity or Robinhood or whatever. And so it's a very versatile product. It caters to really everybody. And so
we got to get that in the ticker below here, Josh. We move over. I don't know.
True.
We get rid of here. We can get this BIX in here because I'm looking at it right now and I'm like, oh, it looks like BVIV has fallen fairly significantly in the last couple days. People are thinking that maybe a little bit more bullish going into some rate cuts here. It's a good data point. I mean, I definitely know that my friends who trade stocks, et cetera, refer to VIX all the time. Obviously, it's one of the main things that gets talked about on the media as there's something big happening in the markets or big shifts in the economy happening. So it makes a ton of sense that we'd have a crypto-specific one.
We can talk offline about the integration.
Cool.
Let's go. So Cole, you tweeted last week that you're in a full court press towards your token launch. I'm wondering if you could tell us more about that and how it fits into your business.
So yeah, great question. We'll be making some big announcements soon around the Volmex token. Don't have a whole lot to share right now. We're still preparing some of the official comms and stuff. But
that's just gonna make us ask even more questions here now. We're like, but come on, Cole, give us a little alpha, baby.
The Volmex token ultimately supercharges the Volmex brand and kind of aligns different stakeholders. We think that it will create a lot of awareness around our products and ties into some of the core offerings at Volmex. And so super excited to announce that. It's something we've been working towards for a while. And I think it's very exciting. And, you see sort of how, for example, the Hyperliquid token has supercharged their ecosystem. I think that, a lot of brands and companies and projects want to sort of emulate, the excitement brought by things like Hype and BNB. And so it will play, a role in our ecosystem, and we'll be definitely making some announcements about that pretty soon. So yeah,
nice.
We'll come on the show and talk more about it soon.
Perfect.
We like tokens, man. We like tokens. We like people who, we've been building for 3 years, haven't had a token out just yet. Generally very bullish to me that somebody's putting the deep thought into building a business and then being thoughtful how a token comes out. But yeah, we'd love to chat with you. I'm very curious about your use of the word conglomerate, like creating the index conglomerate of the future. What's the thinking behind that turn of phrase?
Yeah, so ultimately we got our start with BVIV and volatility indices, hence our name Volmex. But ultimately, there's a lot of different types of indices that the crypto market is sort of underserved in right now and needs. Interest rate indices being one of them, things like factor indices. And so there's a very wide big design space for new index products, I think, across sort of the TradFi space, across crypto native, centralized and decentralized exchange. And so we found a lot of product market fit with BVIV, where we have 4 futures markets across BVIV and EVIV, the volatility indices across a couple of exchanges, widely adopted as an indicator, a lot of data integrations. But we have these pipes and rails insofar as like these exchanges and these data platforms that are integrating our products right now. And so we uniquely have, the talent, the distribution to build and roll out new indices and have them find critical mass. And so we have a family of indices called the Volmex prime rate indices, which effectively are inspired by like SOFR and LIBOR, which are sort of like the canonical interest rate benchmarks in the TradFi market. And the idea is that, the BDLR index is sort of one of the primary indices here, the Bitcoin DeFi lending rate index, which tracks effectively the cost to borrow stable coins on chain against your Bitcoin, on venues like Morpho, Aave, Compound. And so, we saw a major void in the market for interest rate indices in addition to other types of indices. And so the framing for conglomerate is sort of like, hey, we have the leading vol index business franchise, products. We also have a family of interest rate indices, which are finding more and more product market fit and other things in the future. And so, we're sort of this, conglomerate of different families of indices that are sort of leading in their own spaces. In the TradFi market, there's obviously a couple of big index players. You have S&P Global, which has various families of indices. You also have a company called MSCI that's $45-50 billion public company that, has, interest rate indices, global equity indices, various other families of indices. And so, sort of been taking inspiration from, the most successful companies in the TradFi space. We think that crypto will sort of see a similar conglomerate that spans a couple different areas. And that's kind of the inspiration for the framing.
Makes sense. Very cool. All right. Well, I mean, I guess people can experience this in probably their favorite charting app today or exchange. Where can people follow along? I mean, if folks are interested in, I guess the token is probably the thing that people would be the most interested here on our show. Is following Cole Got Tweets the right way to go there? Are you going to be leaking the alpha first?
Yeah, thanks, Jess. So if you want to stay in touch, stay in the loop with Volmex, I would say follow Volmex Finance on Twitter, VOLMEX Finance. Follow Cole Got Tweets. Definitely check out our website, volmex.finance. Check out charts.volmex finance, and add BVIV, EVIV, SVIV, and some of our other indices. Search for Volmex on TradingView. We have over like 50 indices.
This is way better than like and subscribe. I like it. Just add me to your TradingView.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, we have some big news coming. It's going to be a busy next couple of weeks, months, and looking forward to coming back on the show. Really love what you guys are building. I think that this format is awesome, and we'll continue to be super successful. So congrats on the growth here, and excited to come back on the show sometime.
Bring us your token alpha.
Bring
us your token alpha. All right, Cole, appreciate you jumping on, man, and helping Josh and I get a little smarter today.
Take care, guys. Thanks for having me. Cheers. Bye.
See you, dude.